The NFL has been locked at 32 teams since 2002. But let's imagine a future where that number jumps to 40. What would that look like? Would expansion create better competition or water down the league? Would we finally get to see NFL teams in London, Mexico City, or even Toronto? And how would the league even structure a 40-team playoff system? The answers might shock you, because an expansion this big would change everything. Let's break it down. Expanding to 40 teams isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. The NFL is the biggest sports league in the US and rakes in billions of dollars every year. More importantly, football is more popular than ever. Viewership numbers are through the roof. Merchandise sales keep breaking records, and every Super Bowl seems to set new streaming and attendance benchmarks. There's a growing hunger for more teams, more games, and more opportunities for cities that have been left out of the action for too long. But there's one problem. Demand for football is growing, but the league hasn't expanded in over 2 decades. Fans in cities like St. Louis, San Diego, and Portland have been clamoring for an NFL franchise, yet expansion talks have remained stagnant. The last time the NFL grew was in 2002, when the Houston Texans became the 32nd team. Before that, you'd have to go back to 1995 when the Panthers and Jaguars joined the league. So if the NFL were to expand again, why stop at 34 or 36 teams? Why not go big? Why not 40? If the NFL were to make this leap, the first question would be, where would these new teams go? The obvious answer is that the US has plenty of football-hungry cities still waiting for their chance. San Diego was home to the Chargers for decades, and even though they've moved on, the city still loves the sport. But what if the NFL finally goes international? London has been hosting games for years and has proven that it can support an NFL-caliber atmosphere. Mexico City has the largest NFL fan base outside the US, and a team there could create an electrifying new market. Toronto, a sports powerhouse, has been flirting with the idea of an NFL team for years. Even Germany has become a major player, with games in Munich and Frankfurt drawing massive crowds. Portland could give the Pacific Northwest another team, creating an instant rivalry with Seattle. San Antonio, one of the largest cities in the country, could finally get an NFL franchise of its own. Louisville, known for its rich sports culture, could also bring a mix of college football passion and pro-level energy. Oklahoma City has proven it can support a major sports team with the Thunder. Why not add an NFL squad? A 40-team NFL might not just mean expansion in the traditional sense. It could also mean structural changes that redefine the league as we know it. Right now, the NFL has 8 divisions with 4 teams each. Expanding to 40 teams could mean restructuring divisions entirely. Would we see 10 divisions with 4 teams each? Or would the league maintain its 8-division format and expand each division to 5 teams? And scheduling. That's where things would get wild. More teams means more games. The regular season might expand to 18 or even 19 games just to fit everything in. That could create new broadcasting deals, more primetime matchups, and an even bigger push towards globalizing the sport. And then there's the biggest question of all, the playoffs. Right now, 14 teams make the playoffs, but in a 40-team league, that would feel small. Would the NFL expand the playoffs to 16 teams, 18, even 20? Maybe even wildcard chaos where underdogs have a real shot? Or would we see bye weeks completely eliminated to keep the competition even? Would the Super Bowl get pushed even deeper into February? More playoff teams would mean more TV money, but it also changes the entire landscape of the postseason. Right now, earning a playoff spot is an accomplishment, but in a 40-team league, would it feel the same? But of course, a 40-team NFL wouldn't be perfect. More teams could dilute the talent pool. Would the league have enough quarterbacks to sustain 40 franchises? Right now, even in a 32-team league, teams struggle to find elite quarterbacks. Some franchises go decades without a true franchise quarterback, cycling through busts, veterans, and desperate trades just to stay afloat. Now imagine expanding to 40 teams. Where would those extra quarterbacks come from? Would we see a sharp decline in quarterback play, leading to more teams relying on backup-level talent just to get through the season? Or would the league get creative, investing in new developmental leagues, pushing for international scouting, or expanding college football pipelines to produce more NFL-ready passers. But even if quarterback talent isn't an issue, there's another problem lurking in expansion: roster shakeups. Expansion drafts don't just bring in new teams, they take away players from existing ones. Would current teams have to give up valuable players to fill these new rosters? Or would we see stacked teams like the Chiefs or 49ers suddenly lose their key depth pieces, evening the playing field but also disrupting their championship windows? Imagine a young star, once a key role player on a contender, suddenly being the face of a brand new franchise. Would that create new dynasties or just a league full of watered-down rosters? And yes, there's logistics too, a nightmare waiting to happen. Would international teams face brutal travel schedules? Imagine a London-based team that's playing a road game in Seattle, then another in Miami just a few days later. That's not just tough, it's brutal. Would the NFL create European road trips to minimize fatigue? Would international teams play multiple home games back-to-back before flying out for long stretches in the US? Would teams start demanding new bye weeks or scheduling protections to make the transition fair? And then there's the heart of the NFL, its rivalries. Would a 40-team league destroy some of the most legendary rivalries in football? Could we really see a scenario where the Cowboys and Eagles or the Packers and Bears get separated into different divisions? Could expansion mean the end of traditional rivalries as we know them? Or would it create brand new matchups that take years to build the same level of intensity? And the biggest wild card of all, fan support. Expansion sounds great in theory, but would fans actually embrace these new teams? Would a team in Portland or Louisville generate the same kind of passion as the Steelers or the Patriots? Would they struggle with empty stadiums, weak merchandise sales, and a lack of diehard supporters? Or would the sheer love of football be enough to create a new generation of loyal fans ready to rally behind their new teams? One thing is for sure, a 40-team NFL would be unlike anything we've ever seen. The idea sounds crazy now, but so did the idea of a 32-team league back in the 90s. Football is growing. The league is expanding its international presence, and sooner or later, the demand might be too big to ignore. So, what do you think? Would a 40-team NFL be amazing or a complete disaster? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you love deep dives into the future of football, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Because the future of the NFL might be closer than you think. And when it happens, you'll want to say you saw it coming first.